One of the cornerstones of the Southern Medical Association is to foster the next generation of future medical professionals. And if you have some advice, and you are well known as a clinician scientist, can you briefly outline how your initial training and then your more junior faculty positions, first at Rochester, then at Penn State, has led you on your path to your current leadership position? So that would be great to hear from you.
Well, yeah, that's a hard question. Thank you so much for inviting me to the conference. I can't wait to go and speak at the SMA. That's a big honor for an orthopedist, but it's related to your question, which is how I say your question in a different way than you asked it. How come you're not staying in your lane, John Elfar? And the reason why I say it that way is because I think that the world is full of doctors who stay in their lane too well. They never cross into other fields. They don't make friends. Orthopedists, go to your hospital and look. Orthopedists hang out with orthopedists. And I just think I was never that way. I wasn't that much of an orthopedist during my training, and I trained at a place at the University of Rochester. This was after medical school. So I went to medical school at Harvard, and I showed up at the University of Rochester at a time when that department was having its renaissance. And the renaissance involved all these other departments. And the idea was that we're not just orthopedists, that we're not just, there is a fracture, I should fix it. There was a series of videos on YouTube about an orthopedist being so single-minded about fixing fractures that he didn't care about anything else. That was very much the opposite of the culture at the University of Rochester when I was training. So I think that helped. And then I went to Penn State. I took a job at the University of Rochester. And that was after doing a hand fellowship with Peter Stern, who's a friend of yours. But then when I finished my hand fellowship, I took a job at the University of Rochester, and I qualified. I was one of the last people to qualify to get a certificate of added qualification in sports medicine. And so I went and got that. Again, that was part of the culture where I was, to not box yourself in to one or another subspecialty. So I did that. And I became a hand surgeon who was also a sports surgeon, which was rare in orthopedics at the time. And then when I went to Penn State, that was very much part of the culture at Penn State for the years I was there. So I ended up coming here with a mentality that being a one-trick pony, especially about orthopedic work, boxes you out of some of the bigger issues. And so I joined, for example, the American College of Surgeons, which was very rare for an orthopedist. And I ended up being on one of their governing councils because I was the only orthopedist. And I got to go and lobby on Capitol Hill for breast cancer screening and colon cancer screening. I learned a lot being around other kinds of physicians.
Thank you for tuning in, and I hope this conversation has given you a preview of what's ahead at SMA's annual scientific assembly in Houston this year in November. We've built an engaging program designed to inform you, inspire you, and connect you with colleagues. Visit sma.org or scan the QR code to explore the full agenda and register. We would be delighted to have you join us.